allows me now. That allows me. Recording just started. Yep. Alright, you get to see the inside of my desktop. Hopefully I haven't been doing anything too wrong. Oh man. Tell you one thing I need. Oh, thanks, Larissa. Yeah. I just got to get my display running. These Windows, whatever it is, has decided it wants to be extending the display, and I'm not when I do presentations, not much of an extender. This one. Sorry, team. Let's go back. I'll go live from here. It's not as fancy, but so here's a quick look at EndNote. I'm going to create a new library. I'm going to do, sloppy as I am, put it on the desktop. Why do you think my computers don't work? Cullen trial. And I've then started up a new EndNote library. EndNote is really just it's called a bibliographic software, and my apologies to all of those people who already know this stuff. But as I said, it's the most useful piece of research advice I've ever been given, I think. So what it is you can set up a new reference. You can set up a new reference, new reference, and if I wanted to, I could go through and put in Hable and 2000 and where did I get that journal article? 2012, Double Jeopardy, and you could key it in there, and it was in the Journal of Business Research. And that's all fine. You could do that. You could save it, yes, and then you end up with. It's a database for articles, and so that's really neat. Just as a way of just retaining your articles. So, is everybody running? Everybody got a file there that looks like it's working? So there's your database of articles. I'm going to. The beautiful thing is it's a way of organising all of your articles data. You could, as I said, just manually update it, but that's for mugs. That's what we used to do. Our library is perfect for doing it in another way. So let's go to our lovely Uni of Adelaide library that we pay all this money to be a part of. And we do Hable, Double Jeopardy. I've got 3 A journal articles, but yeah, there we go. Journal of Business Research, theoretically robust portrayal of Double Jeopardy, and so there it was, cited by 8, and there's my paper. So I look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. So I get it for free, because it just allows me to go through. I'd like don't find the Hable paper, because you're pretty sure you don't want to be talking about double jeopardy in marketing. But find a paper that you're interested in. You know, you've already been looking at those. Find a paper that you're interested in, and here's mine. No problems. And up here, and it varies between the journal, so and the provider. So Science Direct have got an export button there, and we can export the citation, save to RIS for EndNote, citation and abstract, no problems. And hopefully there it is, saves it down there in that little Chrome saving spot, Science. So that sits there, me and my desktop, and hopefully I'll cross my fingers, and sometimes I look like a fool when I do this. I'll cross my fingers, but its functionality is almost so that you might be able to just drag and drop that reference into here. Scared I am. I am scared because it's not going. Okay, so file, import file, RIS, there we go. And I know this looks so clumsy, but as with all computer things, before you know it, you'll be doing it without even thinking about it. So import that, import all, no translation, and don't care. Do I want to continue running scripts? Let's say no. Cancel. Anyway, with a little bit of panic, we've ended up getting the Cullen-Hable reference in there, and we can go through, and everything that talks about it, what page of the journal it is, what issue the journal was, volume, all of that stuff that none of us really care about, but it seems to be really important when you're doing a reference list. Let's find another article, just so that we've got two articles in there. And I don't mean to be wasting your time, but let's go see who cited my paper. Not because I really care, but might as well put them in my library as well. There's John Dawes from the University of South Australia, and we'll export him as well. Export, put him down there. And I know there are less clumsy ways of doing it, but Science 8.0 it is. Come back here and drop this. And Reference Manager, and down to Science 8.0. Yep, alright. So we end up getting two articles in there, and you can sort of see after a while, you can sort of see after a while, you can end up getting a full bunch of references there. Really pretty handy. It's a database for your references, but the beauty comes from when it's time to write your paper. So we're in here, and we're running Microsoft Word, and we are writing Cullen's paper. Double jeopardy is important. Whatever, you know. I love talking about double jeopardy in marketing, but few other people do. But double jeopardy is important. Oh, I think that needs a reference. I wonder how we do that. I think double jeopardy is important. Needs a reference. Oh, who said that? Cullen-Hable and Larry Lockshin said that. Drag and drop temporary reference into the paper. It has been researched extensively, even in the cigarette industry. even in the cigarette industry, oh no, we need a reference for that. Fine. John Dawes, he was talking about cigarette brand loyalty and double jeopardy. Fine, there it is. And you can sort of see, we go through, we do talk, put another reference in, back to Cullen Habel again, yes, put that reference back in. You know, if I said something else clever in that paper, no problems. So we've got a temporary set of references in there, and we work away, and then, beautiful thing, what do we do on, well, in this case it'll be Saturday afternoon, but what do we do normally on a Sunday afternoon that's the biggest pain in the backside of writing any paper that you ever do? Formatting according to what the formatting guidelines are, and doing the right this and the comma in the right place and underlining in the right spot and all of that. What a pain in the backside. Who wants to be spending good football, drinking, skydiving time doing that? Why not just go to EndNote and update citations and bibliography. Let it find the citations. Another panic-stricken moment here where the lecturer hopes it's going to work. A simple way? That'd be great. To be honest, Larissa has spent more time using EndNote than me recently. So if this goes, then good on me. But if not, Larissa's got an... Oh, there we go. How nice. So... where's my bug? Oh, look. Clearly I've defaulted it so that the abstract is included in as well. So what a bugger. Never mind. Pull those out. And there, at least, with a little bit of messing around, references, and I don't know, do the things we would normally do. Home. Change it to a title heading, and then there we go. So it can be a useful tool, but Larissa's got another trick, clearly.
Yes, so I want to show you more easier way of importing to EndNote without actually opening the article. And yeah, so you can do it in different way. Like when you went to Google Scholar, right? Of course, you have to read the article. You go to the article. Yeah. You just read it, whatever, but then you come back when you find that it's useful and you want it in your EndNote. You just do this. In Google Scholar itself, there is a button Cite. You just click here, and you have exactly the same thing. You just hit EndNote, and it's downloaded, and then you just click on that, and it's automatically imported.
Oh,
no problems.
Show off.
No, it's just as simple as that. It's beautiful.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I mean that's true because now I'm writing the PhD and
put another one in there.
Just Cite, and this is a format APA EndNote. It goes to downloads on your and just click and it's there. It's just imported immediately.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, easy.
And then back to all references. We have the all references button there, and now we find we've got a reference list with 5 papers in it. Yep.
The only difference, the way how Cullen said, is more comprehensive because you have abstracts there, right? Yeah. In this case, you don't have abstracts, but you don't need them
you don't need
often.
Abstracts.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way.
So it is a you know, it's a learning curve. You do have to learn new things to be able to use EndNote. At this stage, though, when you are writing a proposal that should have 30 articles in it, 20 or 30 peer-reviewed journal articles in it, then just for this course alone, EndNote's a useful thing. I guarantee that when you do, those of you who are doing a 6-unit project, you really want to be using EndNote here. If you feel like you need to, down in here, it's super comprehensive. But down when we look at modules, and we come down to where did we have it? Mini lecture support, we called it. There is a super comprehensive thing about EndNote for beginners. And so if you want a hand with it, Ashley Painter was the library person who came in and delivered the content, right from installing EndNote right through to what it is and creating a library. I've got to tell you, we're probably already up to the we did the manual reference entry, so it's worth a try anyway. I'd like you to open a Microsoft, and let me tell you another thing. Where you can close this, and you can, and I'm quite sure you can get EndNote for your own machine out of the library, so you can put it on your Surface or your 5-year-old Lenovo or whatever, and it will run. And what is important is we've got Cullen Trial and Cullen Trial data. Okay, so you can build an EndNote file here and just jockey it across to your Surface or your 5-year-old Lenovo, but you've got to take both of them. It's a real trap for beginners of you only take the EndNote library and then you get bugs. So there's a folder in there that's got stuff in it, and you've got to carry those both around to be able to transport your EndNote library. So that's cool. Let's open up a Word document, and why don't we do what I think we should, how we should build a research brief document. So I'm a believer. I'm a believer in using Microsoft heading styles. I think you are crucifying yourself by not using Microsoft heading styles, Microsoft captions, the captions, and cross-references within a Word document. You are totally looking for all sorts of problems, and perhaps you're already doing it. So if you are, then you can just in your own mind say, gee, he talks about a lot of stuff I already know. But if it turns out you aren't doing it, all right, maybe I've delivered some value. Down here on this top ribbon, I generally like to change this to options, I reckon, and show all styles. Now then that gives me a whole long list of things. Importantly, heading 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is, as I embark on this, I'm going to talk about using heading styles, captions, and tables of contents. Can you show me your hands if you're already really, really comfortable with that? I think I'm going to see somebody here put his hand up, right? Yeah. But please, just show me so I know who's you're really, really comfortable. Help me out and make me feel like I'm actually delivering some value. Who is not super, super comfortable with things like heading styles, captions, all of those sorts of things? All right, so I am delivering a little bit of value to some people as well. Let's go through it as quickly as we possibly can. The upside for people who know that stuff inside out is at least we will have built the skeleton document as well of what I think should be the headings for your stuff. So research brief, and I suppose I'll put a T for title, though there isn't a title there anyway. Research brief. This is probably the only one that I won't. Oh, there it is. There's title. That's what I want. And so now we've got a ribbon that shows everything. In particular, as I said, I clicked it down on styles and then changed it options to all styles. That gives me all styles, including the vitally important heading 1, 2, 3, and 4. So first thing I suppose we want to do, okay, abstract appears somewhere else, but let's do introduction. So for those of us who are familiar with Word, fine, but at least we're all working through the process of creating a document that works. Introduction. Background to the research. I'm going to put dummy words in there because what I want to be doing right now is inserting those heading styles. Let's go with heading 1, highlight introduction, put heading 1 on there. You can manually alter these headings, but introduction, background to the research, and all right, we're away. So I need to probably work through what I would be writing if I was writing a research brief. Background to the research. Research problem. I will also say research objectives. Now, there's a really good chance that the sample research briefs that you've got might not follow this. This is part of what does happen when people are writing research briefs and research proposals. They might write a particularly good research brief and research proposal and have a completely different style to what I'm doing here. But this is what, if I was going to sit down right now and write a research brief, this is what would be in my head. Research problem, research objectives. Put some dummy text in there for myself. And of course, highlight heading 1, highlight heading 1. Look, so as I'm going through that, this is all cool. It's it puts coloured and changes the style and all of that. That's all fine. The real benefit of creating this heading structure is it allows you to think through the logic of what you are speaking about. And so I think about this. I think research problem, research objectives. Probably, so I've got research questions down there, and they're all heading 1s as well, the way I'm thinking of it. But I think to myself, research problem, objectives and questions, I don't know, a better term for that might be the structure of the inquiry. I don't know, I just made that up, but it sounds clever enough. And so I say they should all be under a separate heading that is the structure of the inquiry. Actually, even better, proposed structure. And then let's say we consider a good research problem to effectively guide our inquiry. Okay, nice words, all of that sort of thing. And I think to myself, that's good, but now research problem, research objectives and research questions are all subcomponents under the proposed structure of the inquiry. What shall I do? I know what I'll do. I'll go up here and click heading 2, and then that puts research problem, research objectives and research questions as a heading 2 subcomponent under the structure of the inquiry. Now, that's more than just cosmetic. That is actually some thinking about it. What is the research problem? I had one that I really liked with one of my students there about what attributes of the total makeup package are valued across a range of customers. All right, really good thinking. I don't think I've got a student. I think I think I've got a student here who doesn't even know I'm giving her a compliment. I think I've got a student here who doesn't even know I'm giving her a compliment. I am giving you a compliment. You came up with a really nice research, we came up with a really nice research problem, and there it was. So what attributes of the total makeup package are valued across a range of customers? And so that's fine. Research objectives, I might leave that there for a moment, but then research questions are possibly, do consumers of varying cultural backgrounds, we were sort of talking about how Chinese consumers might value something different to third generation Aussies, value something different to Europeans or whatever. Do consumers of varying cultural backgrounds appreciate free makeovers differently? All right, so I know I've got to tell you, I never thought I'd be writing a research question about makeup, but it's okay. That's sort of where we are. But we're working through all of that sort of thing. What I want to show you before we go too much further is how to insert a table of contents. Again, very, very easy, but inserting a table of contents here is somewhere up here, references, table of contents. It says, what type do you want? I'll just do that. And what that does for me is then lists out what's going on in my document. I really apologise. I see somebody who knows this stuff, right? Oh, you just look like you're ready to go. And it's like, yeah, he's talking about stuff that I already know. But if I am to, and I'm not trying to pick out or anything, but this is a really great, and this is another good piece of research advice I got from Professor Phyllis Tharano, who's now the head of school and dean of informatics or something at Flinders. But she said, use this as an addition to your thinking, because you go research questions. Oh, well, what do we got? I'm going to do this. Research question 1. I'm going to give this a heading 3 structure. And research question 2. And I'm going to give that whatever it's going to be. Research question 2. I'm going to give that a heading 3 structure. Come back to here and say, all right, how's my logic of my document going? Update the entire table. Before you know it, I've gone, oi, look at that. That's looking pretty good. So it's more than just making your document look pretty. It's a way of being able to organise the logic of your thinking. All right, where do we go? What else do we want to put into a research brief? Sorry. Yeah. You know, in a way, you're right about totally right about that, and that is certainly an important, markable thing. Perhaps it's existing information, perhaps it's literature review. Can you get the feeling that there's no perfect way to do this, but there are some good ways? Literature review. And I reckon I'll make that a heading 2 structure. Come back here. How clever is this? Update the field. All right. And research question 1, research question 2. I think really important is for us to go back to this, where we've got the rubric, and say, what is Cullen going to be looking at when he marks the paper? And Cullen is going to be looking at in the research brief, identifying the background to the research or management problem. So in large part, the literature review, that introduction and background is the stuff that we want to put. We don't want that one, we want this one. Background to the research. So pretty much all of that background to the research is the stuff that we're going to do there. You know what I would do? Existing information, literature review, and I reckon I would put business/management problem there. Now, we do understand, we spoke about it earlier on, a business or a management problem is essentially, for the cosmetics question that we were talking about, it's how do we best sell expensive cosmetics at retail? That's the sort of thing that we're doing with the business or management problem. And I've got to tell you, that's something that we're talking about when we do identifying the background. Remember, with a literature review, really don't bother about more than 10 articles, but I would say that 5 of those articles you would probably want to have them as peer reviewed. And if you throw a few grey literature, I like that term, and I know I've heard that, I know, yeah, it's not a new term, you just reminded me of it, but throw a few grey literature articles in there, and you've gone a long way to ticking towards the far right-hand side. Discussing the objectives, research questions, and possibly hypotheses and propositions. That's really a hypothesis. Actually, better off to talk about a proposition. A proposition is what you think might be going on. You know, when we, from reading the literature, we might have an idea that, from what it says in the literature, that Australian consumers are likely to have to appreciate free makeovers more than European consumers. Who knows? I don't even know why I would say that. But if you can say, you know, we have a proposition that that Australian consumers may be the ones that prefer free makeovers. So working through what are we trying to do, what do we think is going to happen, and the research questions, what are the more specific things that we want to find out, then that's pretty much what we're doing in there, in the proposed structure of the inquiry. Research problem, research objectives, and research questions. Project deliverables, that confuses and annoys the hell out of everybody, but it's largely, if you can say recommendations, then if you can provide conclusions and recommendations, provide conclusions around insights to your research questions, then you're a long way towards talking about deliverables. Most importantly though, required information. So a big 20% of the marks come from required information, and I would call this one proposed, oh no, I wouldn't. I was going to say proposed methodology. Yep. Let's just hit it with required information. I think one thing I would say, data collection, data analysis, and I promise you, you don't have to be a genius when you're talking about this, but we all do. I mean, we've all done at least an undergraduate degree. We for sure understand the difference between qualitative data and quantitative data, surely. So hopefully we're not starting that far back, but data collection and data analysis. And you can be I would here say we suggest that the best approach to addressing these research questions is via now this will show whether people are paying attention or not, because I'm going to do qual-quant method. Okay, so if you're not paying attention, you're going to copy these words and go, we propose that we use a qual-quant method. And I'll be going, you were falling asleep in that class, weren't you? So choose one, qual or quant, or you might say mixed methods approach at this stage, but gee, we're starting to get pretty sophisticated here. Via a qual or a quant method, utilizing surveys, focus groups, or whatever. I know actually we're getting a bit tautological there because under data collection we would say as a I'm going to just go down the quant route. As a quant study, we suggest using a general population survey through an online method, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you just copy down what I've got here and put it into your own research proposal, you are going to be wrong, because this is just stuff I'm writing. So your stuff, you might end up by coincidence deciding that you're going to do a general population, you're going to use online or whatever, but unless it actually hangs together with the other stuff you've said there, you're almost getting lost. Data analysis. We expect that we would tabulate the results and calculate averages, etc., etc., all of that sort of thing. Larissa, what do you think? There's something that, okay, we're saying we're going to collect data, we're going to analyse data, but somewhere in there it probably makes sense that the constructs to be investigated or the variables to be investigated. Probably concepts, or the concepts to be, concepts, yeah. I would. So I know that this is a big mouthful. It's all recorded. You can go back over it. You can certainly look at those five samples there, but concepts and variables. Yeah. Again, this is, if I was going to sit down and write one this afternoon, I would probably put this one in, and concepts and variables. And that would be, we would, I'll go back to the cosmetics one, like to measure consumer characteristics such as age, cultural background, income, etc. Yep. Across a range of attributes such as low price, high quality, free makeovers, friendly advice. We would measure how the consumer likes the degree to which these. Now, one thing I didn't, so I've done an example of a quantitative. I'm measuring whether, so you know, how much money they have and how much they like free makeovers. Quantitative, fairly deductive, fairly positivist. You might decide that you want to understand how somebody feels about putting their pet into a pet village for a week while they go on a holiday. Wrong method here. So if you want to get a contextual feeling type of thing, fine, you say the concepts. We care about how people feel about putting their pet in a pet village. We wonder if that's different between cultural backgrounds, or whether or not they have children and extended families. Or you know, I'm sort of saying you don't have to just go, I'm going to measure stuff. You can say, I want to investigate, I'd like to interview, I'd like to talk to people and find things out, not just measure stuff. This is me doing the measure stuff version. And if you do the contextual one, run an interview, run a focus group or whatever, you're not going to say, as a quant study, we're going to do a survey. We will run some interviews or perhaps focus groups to understand how people feel about these things. Data analysis. We wouldn't be tabulating results. We would review the interviews and look for common themes in these things. Now, if I'm giving you a big mouthful of stuff and hitting you with qualitative and quantitative and all of that, I'm sort of sorry, but one thing, you get this in on time, and we've really just got to get off the mark. So if you hit this deadline, which is next Saturday night, then that's fine. You know, I'll be pretty easygoing with you anyway, because it's really just your first hit out. And I promise you, for those of us who've hit the Saturday deadline, when you get to the end of this and you absolutely nail your research proposal, then I promise that the fact that you've nailed your research proposal, I'll come back and look at the research brief and say, hey, they put their research brief in on time, they're getting some extra marks in the brief. That's what's going to happen. I'll give you that undertaking right now. We have a little bit of time of recording, but I know that I've promised you to get you out of here. Build yourself there are 5 examples there, so build yourself a Gantt chart. Okay, so your Gantt chart, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. You know, if you want to pretend you've got dates, fine. So let's say it's the 1st of August, whatever that is, and we go equals that one plus 7. All right, and then we go like that, straight across, bang. Yeah, how good's that? Never mind. And then we go through what are the practical things that we are going to do. Literature review. Back to Cullen and Quant. Literature review, questionnaire design, data collection, data analysis. And I know I am leaving out mountains of things, but go and look at the previous examples, because if as I'm marking these things extremely quickly, if I'm not seeing a Gantt chart, I am saying to myself, student was not paying attention. And it's a really easy way for me to tick the box towards the left rather than towards the right. So show me this picture. Easy as that. Right up. Is there anything else? Like, I know this is a really basic list. Have I made any glaring omissions, Larissa? Is it just... Sorry, yeah. Sorry? Yeah, yep. Yep, I agree. Yeah, let's do that. Formalise research questions. Yep. So anyway, but whatever you can do, whatever you can think of, then do that. Literature review in the first 2 weeks, formalise research questions next 2 weeks, questionnaire design those 2 weeks, data collection, those, data analysis, those, give it 2 weeks, write up those, and submission. And bang, before you know it, you've given me that early warning indicator that the student knows, was paying attention, timeline, and insert that as that picture. Before you know it, here's Cullen saying, yeah, the student was paying attention. Budget, have a look at the sample research briefs that are there. We're really just, it's hard to go wrong with budget. We need to be talking about budget, but you know, if you say that it's going to cost you $2,000–3,000 for respondents, then I'm just going to say, okay, well that's the world they're playing in. They're saying it, and you know, you can find out how much it costs to get respondents, but make sure you do talk a little bit about how much it's going to cost you. And I would just for neatness put a conclusion in there. We expect that collection of this data and its associated analysis will allow us to shed new light, there we go, big finish conclusion, new light on our research problem of ta-da, there we go. Okay, I know I've gone longer than maybe I need to on that. I'll do you the favour, well, it's not that big a favour, but I'll save this and I'll give it to you. You're quite welcome to have it. It's not a silver bullet. You can't just fill in your own stuff in there and without any thinking and pretend that that I'm going to think you're a genius. But it's a framework that with intelligent thinking behind it, you're going to be able to quite easily be able to get a 70% or higher on a research brief. It really is meant to be a gentle, easy hit out. So that's about that. Remember what I do with the rubric. I really truly do, at light speed, I must say, am I ticking here? Am I ticking here? Am I ticking here? Am I ticking here? Here? And if, you know, little things, if I don't see a Gantt chart against project timing, it's like, oh, you know, sometimes people just do it in rows, and I go, oh yeah, that was basic, click it there. But it takes me a half a second to make that decision because I don't see the Gantt chart. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful of your work. There's so much thinking needs to go into this, and I totally agree with you on that. That's why it needs to That's why you need to get it in early to me, because we've got 12 weeks to make sense of your research area, and so that's it. To that end, I'll send an email out for you to do, for us to do catch-ups, a midweek catch-up. Each of us will provide an hour of time, and if we get oversubscribed, then we might provide an extra hour, and that'll be a 10-minute block where we'll say, okay, you've got the 2:10 Tuesday session, come and see me at 2:10. We'll sit downstairs, and truly you've got 10 minutes to say, this is what I'm doing, is this all right? This is what I'm doing, is this all right? And we'll, our heads are spinning by the end of it, but at least then you've got the chance to bounce an idea off of us, and we've got the chance to help you along with that. Show me your hands, who likes Tuesdays for coming along to those sorts of things? Okay, this is where I'm making my decisions, because this is where you get to sign in. So there are some hands for Tuesdays. I'm not much of a Wednesdays person. Who likes Thursdays? Has anybody got other days they love? No? You've got a hand up? No, but so I like the idea that we'll set a session for Tuesday, a couple of sessions for Thursdays. No joke. Once they subscribe, that means there's 15 slots. Once they subscribe, I might go soft and open up another session. But I've got to tell you, the spots will run out. We won't have more than about 20 slots for you to come in and put it in front of us. If they all sell out within the first couple of minutes, all right, well, I'll have to rethink. But it gives us a chance just to make sure we're all on the same page. I know it's been a blast today. We've done a whole bunch of things. We've spoken about the nature of research. We get the chance next week to get together and you can check in. And of course I'll stay here until 5 o'clock for those of you who want to stay here until 5 o'clock. But until then, we've got, as of 2 weeks from now, Larissa will be running this session. Dalway will be in with us as well. And this is really going to be how we make sense of qualitative data using in vivo. Okay, so that's a pretty handy thing. We don't need to, actually we just start pressing the in vivo button 2 weeks from now, really. We shouldn't really broach it now. No, I think that's it. Yeah, very good. Okay, I'll hit the pause and the stop button, and thanks for coming out today. It's been a long day, and it feels like a long day, and I think we've all got a few things out of this.